we're doing today to get this back end done. If you check out the last video, well, maybe I made a clip or whatever this, to let y'all involved. We got to get this job done back here. And we could win this, but it won't be on accident. So what I'm doing here is helping these guys feed Robin, which is feeding the truck. Let me spin around, let me show you the truck. So Derek and all of us, Derek's hauling out, Robin's loading Derek, that sort of thing. And then I'm taking care of the skidders and I'm cleaning up. These are rubber tire feather butcher trees, so I'm cleaning them up and sending them to Robin, and then helping him with the excess, so like when he's loading the truck, these guys can keep pouring the skidders, so keep trying to keep the flow moving. I don't have a full-time job here, but the stakes are so high, I got to sit here and do this.
Later on in this videos, I really get serious about making a little bit of help on the visuals and explaining things and stuff like that. But what we're doing today is we're trying to finish this back end of the property back here. We got to get this back end done. It is Friday. We're going to try to get this done. We got Saturday yet before the rain gets here. So we're going to try to get this done Friday, get the back end done, and down to where Saturday we can pull up crossings and all that stuff and get things pulled out to where we can get the finished work done. Because after the rain on this bottom end, it's soft down here, it's wet down here, and man, it's going to get nasty after the rain. So we're going to have to get this done before the rain. I got done cutting, got my stuff done cutting. Me and Morgan got the steeper ground up on the hillside done and finished up and ready now for the next step. Basically, we're done. We don't want to open up new ground. Me and Morgan don't. Derek has a little bit of wood to cut on the hilltops that I've been cutting on towards the outside, towards the house. So he's working on that today. When he gets in right now, he's in the shop working on stuff at the mill. But the holdup now for this morning, it changes today, but the holdup for this morning is Robin and Morgan to consistently make cycles getting this wood in here, this backyard. Now I want to speed them up. Now also Robin and Tiny needs to be basically to the point where they're right on our butts. So after this wood's pulled out of here from the skidders, then Robin can jump out there to the outside yard where me and Morgan's got everything stacked up, and then the constraint will become Robin. But for now, the constraint is the skidders. So I'm doing everything I can to help speed the skidders up to where they're not organizing things and they're not having to get things straight, so they're not holding Robin up. So I'm basically becoming a middleman here. And I'm not doing a lot, but what I am doing is speeding up the skidders and speeding up Robin, which is going to be the holdup for this morning. This evening, it'll strictly become Robin and Tiny. So, but one thing is for sure, I don't have enough to do. So me and Brutus is going to make use of ourselves and try to help this yard out and see what you all think. See if you all have any ideas to add to this. Please, by all means, add your comments or add your ideas in the comment section. Nobody will be hammering and gouging on you, I promise you. But it would be really nice to figure out this system to where it works good. And I'm really trying to think of things here to get this, like which way do you turn Brutus, which way do you turn the den in, and to make a layout on how to do things there. And there's Tiny back in. Robin just started loading Tiny. But I hope y'all like this, and if you get bored and this gets monotonous, just skip ahead to the second part of this video. It gets real good, I promise you. The way I edited it, I didn't have it done right. I'm not going to stop and redo the whole thing. Just pick it up after the video goes for a little bit and then see what you think. Or if you got the patience here, just watch what we're doing here, and then it'll pick up here in a minute. Thanks, everybody. this point, I had to leave and run up on the hill and cut that across the gas line, which I show a little bit of that on the map here in just a minute coming up. But right now, what's going on down in the yard while I'm out there cutting across the gas line is Morgan and Roger jumped up and went back to skidding to Robin because basically I couldn't be up there, which what we're seeing here is a slowdown. You know, this slowdown is the woods in this spot is there's a lot of leftover standing trees that we're trying to take care of, and it's hard to make a yard around. Robin's actually stacking logs on the edge of the gas line. You know, not across the gas line or on the gas line, but on the edge of it where the mowed section is. Just to have a little bit of room. Now, you see the mat sitting on the ground down there. Them's what Tawny's driving across, and that's where the gas line's at. And here's Morgan helping Robin pull this heavy tree. He's backing his tree up because it's a big boy. Now, normally, when we got a little bit of room where a yard is, you get the trees up beside the rack. So Robin, he can pick it up, swing it over, cut the first log off, and the tree lightens up before he starts dragging to him. You know, it's just this situation. It's hard to set everything up like that because it's just you know, with them standing poplar trees standing there, it's just really hard to make a daggone yard proper. You know, so. But that's what's going on here, and then I'll be back in just a second, and I'll get explanations and stuff going good. Just another minute or so here, and then we'll get into the good stuff. You know, I'm not trying to be preachy here, but I got to thinking, you know, if you look at things, I'm in a talking mood today for some reason. But if you look at things, the thing about logging is there's so many of the jobs you got to learn to be worth a hoot at it. You can't be, I don't care what kind of timber cutter you are, you can't be a good timber cutter unless you're a good skidder man. That goes hand in hand. You can't be a good feather buncher operator unless you're a good skidder man. You can't be a great timber cutter skidder man unless you can be a knuckle boom operator. You can't be a great knuckle boom operator unless you know how to drive a truck. And it's hard to do any of that if you don't know about the product you're selling. Which are you selling logs? See, some loggers package logs because they sell logs to the next step. And then, but us, we don't do that. We sell lumber. So we're trying to prepare our trees into the proper lengths to make lumber later. So we're trying to maximize the value of lumber and not logs. And that's a deep subject. I shouldn't get into it on this. But what the point of this little brain fart I'm having here as I'm editing is, you know, you got to learn the steps of logging. That's your basics. You got to learn your basics. But you can't make the system run until you have all the basics down. And after the basics are down, then you can start addressing your flow issues. And what part of the property do you work first issues? What is your window of opportunity based on the weather issues? All them things. And you can't make them decisions until you learn the first step. How do I cut a tree? How do I skid a tree? How do I cut up a tree? How do I keep my machinery running? How do I maintenance my rig? You know, there's so much to it. My Lord, it is. By the time man gets old enough and gets ready to pass away, I guess he'll figure it out. I don't know. I mean, I'm 43 now, and I still got a pile of stuff to learn. So if you're young, and I mean, my heart's out to you, buddy, as far as learning on this. by the time we got, I cut across that little section and shoveled it up across the gas line. And we didn't skid across the gas line, so if any gas people watches this, we did not skid across the gas line. It's like 5 trees, and I shoveled them across the gas line. So the only person across the gas line is me twice and Brutus. I drove across, shoveled everything on this side of the gas line, and then drove back across, which is slow and aggravating. But it was a corner pocket, 8-ball corner pocket, and it had some walnuts in it. So I mean, it's well worth the slow down in time. But we got that thrown across, and by the time I got all this done and all that mess, Robin and them had pretty much been right on top of me. So then we come back across the gas line into this area and start pulling out the trees from this area. And because we had them stacked up from the other day, me and Morgan did. So Morgan and Roger went to banging on that, and then I mean it went lickety split. And we set Brutus back up, and me and Brutus went back to stuffing the pipeline full for Robin, keeping the skidders out of his way, keeping the butts right up to the cab to where he can grab, and then separating the short pecker pulpwood off to the side to where, because that stuff don't have to be cut again. He can swing that straight on the dump truck. So we don't need that clogged into the stuff he's going to drag over to his table and whack up. So here we are in the last spot, and it was a quick bang the wood out type of thing, and we finished up. I don't think it was an hour. I don't think it took us an hour. It might have took an hour, but I mean, it went so daggone quick. And that's where you're... Well, let's go into it first, and I'll come back.
Now we're over here on the other side of the gas line, and now we got us a buster plug. There's no room for everybody. Morgan ain't even down here skidding because we ain't got enough room for everybody. Come on, Joe! This is killing me. I'm not made to sit still, and I'm sitting still. Oh, I'm not good at sitting still, and I'm having forced to sit still. I'm just cutting off stumps. See, I'm just cutting. I just gotta cut. Wait, no. Trying to scare me, ain't you? Come on! Now watch out for old Brandon there.
What we're doing is a typical situation, referring back to that book I was so proud of. I showed you all the goal. What we got here is we're dealing with a theory of constraints here. It's the five steps to constraints here. Now, if we put it in this application, number one's identify the constraint, which is Robin and Tiny, and getting this wood moved out at this point, because we have stacked the deck already and got the trees all down and concentrated. So now we need to take care of Robin, because Robin in the den here is pretty much the most important. It is the constraint right now, because he's got to process so much and then get it out of here. Now the goal of today, that's the part that you love about logging, man. The goal always changes. The goal is to make profit. Is how I should put that. That's the goal. But to do that, you got to eliminate a bunch of costs, because logging, because of Mother Nature, can get very expensive very quick, and breakdowns. So you got your maintenance and you got Mother Nature you're dealing with. So let's just go to the Mother Nature front here. So what the Mother Nature front here is, today what you're seeing is Friday evening. And we have this evening to get this bottom end winded up. We got to get this bottom end organized and down to where there's just a few knickknacks to finish up in the morning, cause the guys are going to pull the crossing out across the gas line to get to Robin to the last yard, and then we got to pull this big crossing out that me and Roger Dodge put in, and Derek, and get all that stuff done so it's ready for the rain, and all the finish work is done with the bulldozer and the leveling and all that stuff. Everything is done and finished by Saturday evening, because Saturday evening comes in the big cost, which would be Mother Nature making a mud pile out of this place. So here's how we're looking at it. What's the first thing we can do? What's the main thing we can do at this point in time? Because it consistently changes your constraint, your bottlenecks changes. So right now, at this point in time, the bottleneck is getting all these trees out, and which throws Robin and the Den into the hot seat right now. He is the MVP of the crew right now. And now I am caught up from cutting. Derek is actually caught up from cutting, but he has a few knickknacks he can do up on the hill that he's cantankering with, that he can get done before the rain, which is on the next section we're going to log. See, here's the situation. Moving the wood seems to be the issue 90% of the time. If Robin and the skidders are held up waiting through, what do you call that? If Robin and the skidders are waiting through, I forgot what that's technically called. If they're waiting on actions me and Derek's got to do, if we stop the skidders because we got to cut a tree, so say we stop the skidders because we got to cut a tree, and they got to wait on us to cut a tree, that's a I'll look at it, maybe text it in here, but that situation can happen. Now, the way we can eliminate that situation is me and Derek do most of the cutting ahead of time and have the trees laid out to where the skidders can bite, bang, bang, pull, grab. Now, that being done, then moves the constraint to, can the skidders get the wood moved to Robin? And in this situation, we're over skidder powered because Robin and Tiny gets to move so close to the skidders that it consistently throws Robin in the hot seat. Now, that being done, we could go to, so step one is identifying the constraint. The constraint is the den, because we have stacked the deck to where the den is constantly in a hot seat now. So that being done, we got to go to step two, exploit the constraint. Now, what I'm doing right here in process is I'm doing step two. I'm exploiting the constraint. I am keeping wood pushed up to Robin and trying to do as much trimming as I can so Robin don't have to trim, and keeping the skidders away from Robin so Robin don't have to deal with the skidder getting in his way. Or another one would be making sure that Tiny is parked in the exact spot that makes Robin feel good on his swing, to where he can just swing and set. So that is another form of exploiting. Now, let's go to step three, subordinate. What that would be is, well, I should have said exploit. So subordinate would be, can we change the way we're cutting, which would be cleaning up the trees really good. So subordinate would be, can we cut up the trees really good so Robin never has to deal with knots so much, limbs so much, that sort of thing so much. Or can we set up Well, anything else escapes my head right now. So that's 2. Elevate the constraint. I think subordinate also would be outsourcing. So I mean, it's getting confusing there at step 4 and 5. So, but 90% of the time, or probably 95 to 99% of the time, in logging, step 1 and step 2, and a little bit of step 3 is about all we need. Because by the time you get to where step 4 and step 5 results in a calculator and a pencil and all that stuff, we've done changed. The geography's done changed. Mother Nature's done changed, and we've done moved to a different spot. So 90-something odd percent of the time, 4 and 5 is irrelevant, and step 3 is majority irrelevant. It's just step 1. Identify the constraint, bottleneck. Step 2, exploit, help. And that's where we're at. So we're helping this situation out so we can get this wood out of here, so we can get this ground finished up down here, and we can get everything closed out and finished before the rain comes and makes it very expensive to do so in the future. Because once you crack the ground open, the forest floor is porous. There is, go out and I'll give you all a little test. Take you a gallon jug, a milk jug, and fill it up with water. Take you a big can that can hold water, that can hold that gallon of water, okay? Go out in your road or yard and cut the bottom out of that can. Go out in your yard, set the can down on the ground. Dump that gallon in that can and watch how slow that water runs out of that can. Okay, now when you mow grass with your lawnmower and make sod, or you run over the road with a vehicle, it mashes all the pores out of the road. So water cannot run down effectively and soak through the ground. Out in the woods, however, its ground is porous. So if you take that same can out in the woods and dump it out, you'll watch that water pretty much go straight down. It'll blow your mind, trust me. So, but there is no miracle unless you was helicopter logging, which is extremely expensive and highly unpractical in our situation here. Unless you was helicopter logging where there's no equipment running in the woods, you couldn't do it without mashing the pores. Now, once you mash the pores and you add rain, the rainwater can no longer go down. So in a flat area, the rainwater sets and stagnates until the organisms come back, the worms, the roots, all the stuff comes back to fix it. You know, and that ain't going to happen in a timely manner, you know. I got to turn this tree around. So basically, what I'm trying to say in an ignorant way, I guess, is once you drive on dirt and you mash them pores shut where you drive, or you move around, you make that area a place for mud, because water is going to stay there. So when you stir an area and then it rains, you got problems. So the best way to eliminate costs on that front, as far as making mud and all that stuff, is to get in there, get the job done, and get out. So that's exactly what we're trying to do down here, is get in here, get the job done, and get out. And you can see Roger and Morgan's Park. So this is one of the last trees that I'm getting. I got backwards because this was up off the hill. This was that poplar tree that set back that I had to knock over with that red oak tree. It'd come down backwards, which Roger and Morgan should have turned it around. Roger and Morgan. You know, that's another thing. 80% of the value of the tree is in the bottom 20% of the tree. So giving Robin the tree's butt first is very important, so he can make great decisions based off priorities, because the more expensive wood takes priority over the cheaper wood as you're going up the tree doing the processing. All right, I'll shut up and move along. But this is I wanted to show you all this because this is a real neat situation that, I don't know, I had the idea, but Robin said, let's exploit it. So I'm giving, well, I don't know who that is. People calls me all the time, and I'm trying to do stuff, so I can't hardly just answer. Text! I'm telling you, people, text! Have respect for other people. Text. Unless it's an absolute emergency, text. Because that gives them the opportunity to answer you on their schedule. So if you respect somebody's time, text them. So anyways, there we are. And that's what I have to show and share on this. Anybody that has anything to add to this conversation, by all means, please do. I am struggling to learn and get to the next level. And plenty of us out there are. And if you're an experienced person out there, or anybody out there that has anything to add to this conversation, please comment down below and get this conversation going so we all can learn from this. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and don't forget to smile. Later on.
Like the middleman, he's keeping everybody from having to stop and wait on each other. Well, let's get up the hill and get into something else.
No, it was just too tight back in there. There's enough room for me, a rat, and a side, but there wasn't room for Tony.
Oh, I'm telling you, these guys put out a lot of effort. I'm very proud of them. We just had a fart crossways this morning, and I got to thinking, I was like, Robin, would you want me to help you maybe do what you do for, see, sometimes he goes and does what I was doing there for Big Mama in the yard. Really speeds things up. Especially when you get like towards the end of the job and you got like 2 or 3 skidders just bang, 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 bang in the yard with trucks and everything else coming. Rob take that dent in the yard and just make it go whack, 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 whack. And so anyways, I asked him this morning, I said, do you want me to do like what you do for Mama? And he said, get your butt in there and get to it. This was going to be a day and a half of work, and it turned out we got it today. So I mean, it sped things up quite considerably. Now I wasn't cutting anywhere else today, but Big D was up here cutting. See, I already had the sides and everything cut with the butts thrown up on the hill there. And Big D, he's cutting the hilltops out, and there he's talking to the landowner over there now, but he's cutting the hilltop out, you know, after I got the sides pulled up. So I pulled the sides up for the skidders so nobody's backing over the banks and there ain't erosion and stuff like that, and it's easy and quick. And then Derek cuts the top of it out when I get out there and wash my hands of it. And it's working out pretty daggone slick, I have to say.